In this video, I would like to explain about the subquery. Here we go. We will use the classic model database like the previous meeting. So we'll use the classic model database. We have several tables here like the product lines, products, order details, employees, office, customers, orders, and payment. However, in this meeting, we will focus only on the customer tables, orders, and payments. So, what is subquery? Subquery is a query nested within another query such as select, insert, update, or delete. In addition, a subquery can be nested inside another subquery. So, the implementation can be using where, using in or not in, using from, or using axis and not axis. The subquery itself is like we have query here, but inside this query we can have another query. So this is what we call subquery. This nested just like in the another programming language like C++, we have looping and then we have looping inside the looping. So it's what we called nested looping. So in the MySQL we have nested query, or we call it subquery. Okay, let's take a look at this subquery that using where clause. So this is the example. We are going to select the customer number as well as the check number and the amount from the payments tables. But we use where here as a clause for the subquery. We use amounts where the amount is the result from the subquery. So the subquery will return the maximum amount. So we have the maximum amount from the payments and assign it to the amounts. And then we only select the data, the customer number, check number, as well as amounts from payments that the amount is maximum amount. So from the amounts that are the result from the subquery. So this is the result. Now let's do the practice. Okay, use the classic models database, and then I'm going to check the table. So we will use the payments table. So describe payments. So here we go. We have the customer number, check number, payment date, as well as the amount. Okay, now I'm going to select the customer number and then the payment date as well as the amount. So I'm going to select a customer number and the payment date and then the amount from the payments tables. But with the condition, I'm going to select the data that are where the amount is generated from the subquery, which is select max. I'm using max here, amount from payments Now I get the result. The customer number is 141, and then this is for the payment date, and this is the amount. This is the maximum amount. If we check the subquery itself, okay, so let's say I'm going to delete this one. So let's just try to select the maximum amount from payment, and we get this one. So this is the result from the subquery, and then we select, we assign the subquery result into amount, and then we use this as the condition to select the customer number, payment date, as well as the amount. So this is the main query, and this is using the where clause. We use the subquery and assign the values into amount. So that's how we can do the subquery using where clause. Now let's go with subquery but using the in and not in. Okay, so in this example I'm going to use the customer tables as well as the order tables. In this case, I'm going to looking for the customers that place an order. See? So let's say I have a tables like this one. This is the ID and this is the, let's say this is the customer number, okay? Customer number. And then this is the customer name. For example, the customer number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The customer name is Ani, Budi, Citra, Desi, Eka. Okay. And I also have the orders tables that are store the orders detail, the orders information. We have here, we have the customer number. So this is, and we have the order number too. So this is the order number, like order number 112, 113, 114, etc. And then we also have the customer number, which is a foreign key from the customer name, customer number here. So we have customer number like 1, order number 113 is also customer number 1, 114 is customer number 3, and etc. We have customer number 4 and etc. As you know, sometimes we got the customer that are not placed any order. For example, like it is a new customer that just registered to our system, so he doesn't have any order yet. So in this case, I'm going to select the customer names. So I use this one. Select the customer name. I'm going to select the customer name from the customers tables, where the customer number, because it linked using the customer number, right, with the customer number, where the customer number is in what? In the list that are result of this subquery. Okay, let's take a look at our subquery. We select and testing the customer numbers. So I'm going to select and testing this customer number. Why I use testing is because I want to get the unique value, right? I don't want to get the duplicate, so I use the testing. So just the result will be 1, 3, and 4. This is the list, or this is the data, the record that I get from the select testing customer numbers from table order. Now I get 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4. So I can do the full query. This is the result of the subquery 1, 3, 4, and I will do the full query, which is select the customer name and from the table customer, where the customer number is 1, 2, 3, which means I'm going to select 1 here, which means I get 1. That means the result will be Ani. So the result is Ani. Oh, this is not really good, so I'm going to check. Okay, 1. That means Ani. So we have Ani here. And then 3. That means Citra. So we have Citra. And then 4, which means Desi. So the result will be Ani, Citra, and Desi. So execute the subquery first, and then using in. That means it will check one by one that are listed that are listed in the result of the subquery. So customer name, but within the result of the subquery. Okay, now let's check our customer table. So we describe customer. So we have the customer number, customer names, and etc. We can try to looking for the total of the customer using the count. So I'm going to check how many customer we have. Count from customer. So we have 122 customers. Okay, let's take a look at our orders. So I'm going to describe orders. So we have order number, order date, as well as the customer number. Okay, so we have customer numbers here. Now we are going to use subquery with in. I'm going to check whether from all of my customer here, 122, who have an orders in our tables. I mean, like, who are already registered or who already placed an order in our system. So I'm going to select the customer name. Okay, I forget the customer name. Okay, customer name from, I'm going to select the customer name from this is the customer tables. From customer, okay, from customers, where, okay, so where the condition is the customer number. So where the customer number here, where the customer number here is also in the customer number in the orders table. So where the customer number in, so where this customer number in here, see, in what, in select what, select distinct. I'm going to select distinct, customer number. This is the subquery. Select distinct customer number from the tables orders, from orders, close, and then here we go. Nah, we got 98% or 98 customers. So as you can see, we have 122 customer, but only 98 that are already purchased item from our database or our system. Now let's do other ways. I mean, we got a lot of customer here. How about we are going to check who are that are not placed any order yet. So just change the in with not in. So I'm going to check the customer name that are not in the orders tables. See, okay. Not in, select. We have 24%, 24 customers. So this customer is not take any order yet. See, that's the difference between in and not in. So not in is like we select that are not in the result from the subquery. If we use the in, and it will check the result that are, it will select the data, the record that are listed in the result of the subquery. Okay. Last is the axis. Axis and not axis. So in this example, we are going to select the customer number as well as the amount. So we are going to select the customer number as well as the amount, okay, from the table payments. But specific for the customer that are from California. So we are going to select the customer that are from California. See? So here we are going to use the axis. It's similar to the in and not in clause. So we use the the subquery using in and not in. The difference is first, the query itself is a bit different. So when you are using the in, and you have to declare what column that are used as the condition. For example, like where the customer number in something. So you have to declare in what column, but with using axis, you don't have to declare this column. So just like select from something where axis in here. Why it is different? Because the selecting method is also different. When we are using in, then it will check the subquery first, and then the result will be like stored in the such as a list or something, and then just do or compile or run the full query or the outer query. But in the axis, it's worked otherwise. So it will do the whole or the outer query first, and then we'll check the subquery later. So it's different. It's different scheme. In the in, it will check the subquery first. It will do the subquery first and then do the outer query. But in the axis, do the outer first and then check whether if it exists also in the subquery. So the approach is a bit different. Okay, so as you can see, this one, it will select the customer number and amount from the payment. So it will be do first. So the result will be like, okay, the first result will be all the data from the payments. So I have the customer number and the amount. It is all the data, which mean from the payment we have like, for example, 200 data. So it will appear, all the data will be appear. Okay, this is the result from the outer query. It's different with the in. Okay, so this will be execute first, and then it will check after this result appear, and it will check where exists, where this result is exists. So let's check the subquery. Select C customer number. So we select the customer number from the table customer. Okay, so we get the customer number from the customer table. So we have this customer table. We select the customer number from G, where the customer number from the table customer is same with the customer number from payments customer number, and the state is CA. It represents California. You can check in our database. So we are going to select, this is all the results from the outer query, and we are going to select the customers that are from California. See? So this is the condition to select the California. After we got full result, then we will check that are this result that also available, that also exists in the second table. See? In the second table, we select only customer that are from California. So for example, we have customer number 1, 2, 3, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So based on this result, see, we have this one, but we check the existing of this this record on the second record, which means the subquery. If this data is also exists here, then it will be placed in the result. See, so because 1, 2, 3 is also exists in the subquery, so it will be appear. But 4 and 5 that are not in the subquery, not exist in the subquery, it will not appear in the result. Okay, so the approach is a bit different. Okay, before we go to the query, let's take a look at our data. So I'm going to check, I'm going to describe first, describe the customer, describe customer. So we have the customer number, customer name, and state here. So I'm going to check customer number, name, as well as the state. So from what country is my customer? I'm going to select the customer number, customer name, as well as the state from customers. So here we go. We have 122 data, and we have a lot of new values here for the states. But we have like Victoria, California, New York, and then New York, California. We have a lot of Californian person here, Californian customer here. So okay, it's California again, California. Okay, so we will check the customer that are from California, but also take an order so it done with its payment. Okay, so I'm going to check the payment first. I'm going to check the payments table. Describe. So I'm going to look for the Californian customer that already have payments. Describe payments first. So we have the customer number and the amount. Now let's select the customer number as well as amount from the payments. So we are going to select the customer number and the amounts because it is axis, so we will select from the outer query first, and then check whether this result is also axis in the subquery. So we select the customer number and amount from the outer query, which is from the data payments. So I'm going to select all the payments data from the payments where it exists, where the data is also axis, where the record is also axis. Axis in what? Axis in the query. Select customer number. So you see that customer. Select. I'm sorry. Select C customer number from tabel customers where the C.customer number is equal to, I'm sorry, I forget one thing, from customers C where the C.customer number is equal to payments, tables payments, customer number, and the state which mean the states from the customer tables, which means C.state is CA, which means California. Oh, okay, I have typo here. Axis with S. Now, this is the result, so we can see that there are a lot of customer here, and this is the amount. This is the customer that are from the California, as well as the amount. Okay, so because every customer here have like several payments, so it appears like several times. If you want to calculate all the payments, then just combine it using the group by. So here we go, the result. If we use the group by, so it will group the data, the customer data, and the amount. Okay, thank you. I think that's all.